I gotta tell you, 35 years ago, if you were to tell me that I'm gonna be standing up here with, a couple of thousand people here listening to me in English, I laugh at you. Actually, I wrote this whole thing in Vietnamese in the first place, and then I realized that it's not gonna work. But, every morning I wake up, I gotta tell you, I thank God every day for putting me and my family on this greatest country on earth. And if you ever have any doubt that an American dream doesn't exist, I am living the American dream. So they asked me to come speak on this event, and they wanted me to speak to you about my experience as first generation Vietnamese American, but you know what, I think I'm gonna change that. I'd rather be speaking to you as an American. And for those guys out there by the curb, I am not white, and I feel pretty good with my people here. I am a US citizen, and I'm a pretty proud US citizen. It took me about 8 years to get it, many long lines, and I got it. I'm pretty proud of it, and here's proof. I still remember those images of the Tet Offensive. If you serve in Vietnam, you know what I'm talking about. It was back in 1968. I was about 6 years old, and a lot of you probably be asking, how can a 6-year-old boy remember the war? I was just a little kid. Trust me, those images cannot be erased. And I can't even imagine what a young soldier from America leaving 10,000 miles away from home and fighting on my behalf. 35 years ago, I left South Vietnam to come to America for political asylum. The war ended, and at the age of 13, when I left Vietnam, with a full understanding that I may or may not ever see my siblings or parents again. I was one of the very first 100,000 Vietnamese to come to the United States legally. And somehow my family and I were reunited five months later. And amazingly, it was in California, and I have to tell you, it's a miracle from God. I'll tell you something, if you haven't heard lately that this is the greatest country on earth, I'm going to tell you right now, it is. It is freedom and the opportunity presented to me that put me here in front of you tonight. I also remember all those barriers that I have to fight against every day. For example, remember my high school counselor told me that I'm not college material because I have a problem with my English and my communications. And I kind of proved them wrong. Anytime you tell me I can't do something, I have a tendency to want to go do it harder. And I did finish college, by the way. I did become a professor as well, also. You see, this is very simple. All you have to do is give this little boy an opportunity and some encouragement and tell him to go get it. Yes, I took the opportunities, and here I am standing in front of you today. The person standing in front of you tonight, believe it or not, cannot exist under a socialist, communist environment. And by the way, if you think for a moment that socialism is good for you, I'm very sure every one of these people will chip in and buy you a one-way ticket to your country of choice. Under one condition, you cannot come back. Pop quiz 101. What's the difference between socialism and communism? An AK-47 in the back of your head. That's what it is. I grew up in that environment. I know it. Don't argue with me. In 1983, I stood with about 1,000 immigrants, reciting the Pledge of Allegiance and listening to the national anthem for the very first time as an American. And to this day, I can't remember anything sweeter or more patriotic than that particular moment in my life. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Somehow I finished high school, college, and like any other goofball 21-year-old kid, I was having a great life. I was enjoying my life. I had a great job. I had a great apartment in Southern California. I went out on dates. I did all those great things. At some point in time, I forgot why I was here and how I got here. So I'm going to give you a little story that turned my life around. One day I was at a gas station. I looked across the island. There's a vet putting gas in his car. I can tell because he's had his army jacket on. And I don't know what got into me, but I walked across the island. I asked him if he served in Vietnam. He nodded, said yes, and he smiled. And I shook his hand, and I held on to his hand. And guess what? His eyes started to well up. Yes. Well, I kind of walked away quite quickly. I didn't know what to make of it. I walked away. And at that particular moment, I have to tell you, my emotion was rocked. I knew I had to do something different in my life. I knew I had to give back and be a better citizen. You see, America is not a place on the map. It's not a location. It's not a physical location. It is an ideal, a concept. If you are an American, you must understand the concept. You must buy into the concept. But more importantly, you must stand up, fight, and defend the concept. Yes. And to those guys standing out there, this is about freedom, not free stuff. My brothers and sisters, to be a real American, the very least you must do is to learn how to speak English. I don't do it all that well, but I sure damn try. And in my humble opinion, you can't be a patriotic citizen if you can't even speak the language of the country you live in. Everybody has seen this document, right? You know what this is all about, right? Now, the last time I looked on the internet, there was not a Vietnamese translation of this thing. So if you don't speak English, it's tough to follow the law. And up until this day, you know, it's not easy. I still struggle. I still have to come up with words. And, you know, on a bad day, it's pretty bad, like right about now. Before I got to know this 46-page document, I have to tell you, I learned about the 500,000 Americans that went through Vietnam to fight for me. And before I know about this 46-page document, I learned about the 58,000 names inscribed on the black wall at the Vietnam War Memorial. To all of you Vietnam vets out there, you are my heroes. And you are my founders. And when I was eligible to vote, I went out and performed my civic duty. For all of you young people out there that are turning 18, I would encourage you to exercise your duty as an American, to be an informed voter. 18, I don't care. Go out there, study, understand your candidate, and vote. America fought and died for your rights. Do not let her down. At this time, I would like to ask all the Vietnam vets to please stand. If you are a Vietnam vet, please stand. This is important, I gotta say it. I thank you for my life. I thank you for your sacrifices. And I thank you for giving me the freedoms and the liberties I have today. All veterans, please stand. Police officers, please stand. Firefighters, please stand. On behalf of all first-generation immigrants, I thank you. God bless you all, and God bless America.